I thought I had built the perfect life with Amanda. 6 years of marriage, a beautiful home in Seattle, and plans for our future together. Then I found those text messages from her work friend James. What followed was discovering their year-long affair, her cruel words about our marriage, and even their intimate moments in our home. Instead of confronting her, I simply disappeared. Now she is having a public meltdown, and everyone is calling me the villain. Before I tell you what really happened, where are you watching from? Hit that like button and subscribe to hear how I turned my life around after being betrayed by the woman I trusted most. My story begins 3 years before everything fell apart. I was thriving as a software engineer at a tech firm in Seattle, working on cutting-edge projects that kept me challenged and fulfilled. My career was on an upward trajectory with promotions coming regularly and a reputation for solving problems others could not tackle. Outside of work, I enjoyed hiking the beautiful Pacific Northwest trails, playing basketball with friends on weekends, and volunteering at the local animal shelter. Life was good, but something was missing. That all changed at my buddy Mark's 30th birthday party. There she was, Amanda, laughing in a corner with some mutual friends. Her dark hair cascaded over her shoulders, and when she smiled, the whole room seemed brighter. Mark introduced us, mentioning she worked in marketing and had just moved to Seattle from Chicago. We clicked immediately, discovering shared interests in true crime podcasts, Thai food, and 70s rock bands. That night we talked until the party wound down, exchanging numbers, before reluctantly saying goodnight. Our first date was at a small jazz club downtown. I remember being nervous, changing my outfit 3 times before leaving my apartment. Amanda showed up in a blue dress that matched her eyes, and all my anxiety melted away. Conversation flowed effortlessly between us, and when I kissed her goodnight, I knew something special was happening. What followed was a whirlwind romance that took my breath away. Weekend road trips to Portland cooking, elaborate meals together in my tiny kitchen, and long walks along Alki Beach became our routine. Within 6 months, Amanda was practically living at my place anyway, so we decided to make it official. Her lease was ending, and it seemed like the perfect timing. Why waste money on 2 places when we spend every night together anyway? She reasoned, and I could not have agreed more. Moving in together revealed new sides to Amanda that only made me love her more. She was organized where I was messy, outgoing, where I could be reserved, and she pushed me to step outside my comfort zone. Friends commented on how well we complemented each other, how we seemed to anticipate each other's needs without words. My mother, who had been skeptical of previous girlfriends, adored Amanda from their first meeting. She is the one Derick mom told me over coffee one Sunday. Do not let her get away. Taking my mother's advice to heart, I proposed on our 1-year anniversary during a weekend trip to Orcas Island. I had planned everything meticulously. The private sunset cruise, the photographer hidden to capture the moment, the exact spot where we would have the perfect backdrop of the San Juan Islands. When I got down on one knee and pulled out the ring, Amanda's eyes filled with tears. Yes, yes, 1,000 times, yes, she exclaimed, jumping into my arms before I could even finish my prepared speech. We were married 8 months later, at a mountain resort surrounded by 150 friends and family members. Amanda's parents, who had initially been skeptical about her moving across the country for me, seemed to finally warm up during the wedding planning. Her father's toast brought tears to many eyes as he welcomed me to the family. My mother and Amanda had developed their own special relationship, shopping for the wedding dress together and sharing inside jokes. With our combined incomes, we purchased a beautiful 3-bedroom house in an upscale Seattle neighborhood. The backyard was small but private, with a covered patio where we hosted summer barbecues. Weekends were filled with hiking trips to Mount Rainier and dinner parties with our close-knit group of friends, mainly couples our age, who were also establishing their careers and relationships. We talked about children, agreeing to enjoy a few years of marriage before starting our family, but making plans for the future. Amanda had even started a Pinterest board labeled Nursery Ideas that she thought I did not know about. Everything changed when my company landed a major government contract. Suddenly, my work hours increased dramatically. Late nights and weekend work became the norm, as we rushed to meet ambitious deadlines. Amanda was supportive at first, bringing dinner to the office when I had to work late, and understanding when I was too exhausted for our regular date nights. I tried to maintain balance, blocking off Friday evenings as sacred time for us, no matter what fires needed extinguishing at work. Around the same time, Amanda received an exciting opportunity at a larger marketing firm with better advancement prospects. She came home bubbling with excitement after her first week, talking about the creative team, and especially her new colleague James, who had taken her under his wing. I was happy for her success, and relieved that she had her own career to focus on while mine demanded so much attention. James is so connected in the industry, she would tell me over dinner. He knows everyone worth knowing in Seattle marketing circles. The firm had a culture of after-work happy hours, which initially happened once or twice a month. Amanda would come home energized from these social events, full of stories about her colleagues and industry gossip. Gradually, these outings became weekly occurrences, sometimes stretching later into the evening. I noticed subtle changes in Amanda: a new wardrobe of more expensive, stylish clothes, a different hairstyle, more attention to her makeup, even on weekends. The marketing world is all about image, she explained when I commented on a particularly pricey dress she had purchased. I need to look the part if I want to advance. Looking back, I should have recognized the warning signs. Amanda started keeping her phone face down and took calls in another room. The password on her phone changed from my birthday to something I did not know. When I asked about it casually, she said it was company policy for security reasons. There were unexplained absences, shopping trips that lasted all day, work emergencies that called her away on weekends, girls' nights that seemed to happen with increasing frequency. Our intimate life dwindled, with Amanda often claiming exhaustion or headaches. Emotionally, she seemed distant, less interested in hearing about my day or sharing details of hers. When she mentioned new friends I had never met, I suggested dinner parties to get to know them, but she always had reasons why the timing was not right. I started questioning myself. Was I being paranoid, insecure? Was this just what happened in marriages when both partners had demanding careers? I tried to reconnect with Amanda, planning a weekend getaway to the lodge where we got engaged, but she seemed distracted. Entire time checking her phone constantly and claiming a work crisis needed her attention. Can we not have one weekend without your phone glued to your hand? I asked, frustration getting the better of me. You are one to talk, she snapped back. How many weekends have I spent alone while you worked on your precious project? Now that I have an important career too, you suddenly want my undivided attention. Her response left me feeling guilty and confused. Was I being hypocritical? I backed off, giving her space while trying to be more present when we were together. Yet the distance between us continued to grow. The real turning point came when Amanda announced she needed to attend a marketing conference in San Diego over the weekend. She seemed unusually excited about the professional development opportunity, mentioning that James would be attending as well to present on digital marketing trends. It is a huge honor that they selected our team to represent the company, she explained, while packing far more evening wear than seemed necessary for a professional conference. The next day at work, I mentioned Amanda's conference to a colleague whose wife worked in marketing. His confused expression caught me off guard. What conference? Cassie has not mentioned anything happening in San Diego this weekend, and she usually knows about all the industry events. A quick search online revealed no major marketing conferences in San Diego that weekend. A sick feeling settled in my stomach, but I told myself there must be a reasonable explanation. Maybe it was a smaller, company-specific retreat. Maybe my colleague's wife simply was not invited. Yet the seed of doubt had been planted, and I could not shake it. Against all my principles about privacy and trust, I logged into our shared phone account that evening. What I discovered sent my world crashing down around me. Hundreds of text messages exchanged between Amanda and the same number at all hours of the day and night, including times she was supposedly asleep beside me. The volume increased dramatically on evenings. She had work events, and throughout her unexplained absences. A reverse lookup of the number confirmed my worst fears. It belonged to James. I sat staring at the phone records for hours, feeling physically ill. Part of me wanted to confront Amanda immediately, but another part needed more information. If I was going to accuse my wife of infidelity, I needed to be certain. So I waited sick with anxiety for her return from San Diego. The next betrayal came accidentally. Amanda had asked me to set up her new laptop while she was away transferring files from her old computer. While organizing her documents, I stumbled across an email folder that was not supposed to be there, hidden but not well enough. Inside were hundreds of exchanges between her and James going back almost a year. The intimate details of their affair were laid bare before me in graphic detail. They had not only been physically involved for months, but had formed a deep emotional connection. They exchanged "I love you" messages and talked about future plans. There were references to times they had been together while I worked late weekends, when Amanda claimed to be visiting her sister, and even occasions in hotel rooms I had unknowingly paid for. My hands shaking, I dug deeper. Our credit card statements revealed charges at hotels and upscale restaurants on nights Amanda had told me she was working late or out with girlfriends. There were expensive gifts charged to our joint account, gifts I had never seen, and transfers to a separate bank account I knew nothing about. The final betrayal was discovering their plans to continue their San Diego getaway at a luxury resort using points from our shared travel credit card. The reservation confirmation showed a king bed and champagne waiting in the room, hardly appropriate for colleagues sharing a professional conference. I had planned to confront Amanda upon her return, having rehearsed what I would say countless times. But fate had other ideas. The night before her trip, I overheard her phone conversation with James, while she thought I was in the basement. She had slipped into our bathroom with the door closed, but the vent carried her voice clearly downstairs. "Derick suspects nothing," she laughed softly. "He is too wrapped up in his project to notice anything. I told him it is a marketing conference, and he just nodded like the oblivious husband he is." Her cruel words about our marriage cut deeper than the infidelity itself. "I cannot wait to be free of this charade," she continued. "Once we execute our plan, I will file for divorce, claiming emotional neglect. With his work schedule, it will be easy to prove. My lawyer says I could get the house and half his tech company shares." I stood frozen in the basement, my confrontation speech forgotten. This was not just an affair born of neglect or temptation. This was calculated betrayal with a strategy to take everything I had worked for. Rather than confronting her immediately, I decided to confirm the full extent of their relationship. The next evening, I told Amanda I had an emergency at work and followed her instead. She drove directly to an upscale restaurant where James waited with a kiss that left no doubt about their relationship. Through the window, I watched them laugh and hold hands across the table, taking photos with my phone as evidence, not for any legal purpose, but to remind myself later that I was not crazy, that this betrayal was real. Over the next week, I discovered more painful truths. The affair had been going on for over a year, starting shortly after James joined Amanda's company. They had been intimate in our home, in our bed, on days I traveled for work. Amanda had systematically lied to our friends, painting me as controlling and emotionally distant to explain why she needed so much girl time away from home. Most disturbing was learning about their exit strategy. Text messages revealed their plan: Amanda would file for divorce, claiming emotional abuse using my long work hours and her cultivated stories as evidence. They had discussed how to isolate me from our friend group, first ensuring I would have limited support when the blow came. James, having gone through a divorce himself, had coached Amanda on how to maximize her financial settlement. I broke down alone in my car that night, parked at a scenic overlook where Amanda and I had once watched meteor showers. Tears came in violent waves as the full weight of the betrayal crashed over me. This woman, who had promised to love me forever, had not only betrayed our vows but was actively plotting to destroy me. I drove aimlessly through the city until dawn, wrestling with my options. Confrontation would only play into their hands. Amanda would deny, minimize, or twist my words. She would accelerate their plans, potentially claiming I had become unstable or threatening. The narrative would be hers to control, and given how she had already influenced our social circle, I would be fighting an uphill battle. That night, I realized that disappearing completely might be my only move. Not out of cowardice, but as the only strategic choice that would deny Amanda the power she sought over me. I spent 2 weeks methodically preparing my exit. First, I consulted a lawyer without Amanda's knowledge, laying out everything I had discovered and my unusual plan to disappear. He advised me on legally separating finances without crossing into abandonment territory. I opened new personal bank accounts at a different institution and transferred exactly half of our joint savings, not a penny more, despite the temptation to take it all. Next, I secured a furnished rental apartment in Portland under an LLC my lawyer helped establish. This provided distance from Seattle without taking me too far from my industry connections. I negotiated a remote work arrangement with my company, citing personal reasons that my sympathetic manager did not question too deeply. My home office was set up in the new apartment with upgraded internet and the security measures needed for my sensitive work. While Amanda was at work, I slowly removed truly irreplaceable items from our home. My grandmother's watch, family photographs, journals, and important documents. I was careful to take only personal belongings that were undeniably mine, leaving behind wedding gifts, furniture, and anything we had purchased together. Each item was moved to a storage unit first, then gradually to the new apartment. I updated my mailing address, redirecting important correspondence to a post office box. I acquired a new phone with a different carrier, porting over only the contacts I needed to maintain, close family, and select work colleagues sworn to secrecy. The hardest part was deciding who to tell. In the end, I confided only in my parents, showing them the evidence and explaining my plan. They were shocked but supportive after understanding the full situation. I swore them to absolute secrecy, explaining that their knowledge put them in a difficult position. My father, always pragmatic, suggested they should appear genuinely concerned but confused if Amanda came looking for me. "We will tell her the truth, that we do not know where you are staying, just that you are safe," he promised. "That is all anyone needs to know." The final morning arrived, a Tuesday that Amanda would remember as the last day she saw me. I maintained our normal routine, kissing her goodbye as she left for work, telling her I would handle dinner that night. She smiled, mentioned she might be late due to a client meeting, and walked out the door. Her client meeting, I knew from her text messages, was actually drinks with James. I took one last look at our home, the space where I had once been so happy and now felt only hollowness. The framed wedding photo on the mantel, the kitchen where we had cooked countless meals, the garden we had planted together last spring. For a moment, grief threatened to overwhelm me, but I reminded myself of the conversations I had overheard, the calculated betrayal that had poisoned everything. I drove away with the small suitcase I had packed, leaving no note. My plan had to be executed perfectly. Any explanation would give Amanda material to twist or leverage. Complete silence would be my only statement. That evening, as Amanda discovered I was not home and dinner was not started, my new life was already beginning. I had deactivated all social media accounts, changed email addresses, and set up mail forwarding. I had withdrawn from our shared digital life as completely as from our physical one. Amanda's reaction began with confusion. My phone showed 20 missed calls and dozens of increasingly frantic texts before I permanently disconnected the number. She contacted friends who genuinely had no information to share. As hours turned to days, her panic grew visible through the digital breadcrumbs my lawyer monitored for me. The public meltdown started on day 3. Amanda posted a concerned message on social media, asking if anyone had seen me. By day 5, she was describing herself as a desperate wife, searching for her missing husband, and suggesting I might be having a mental health crisis. Friends rallied around her, sharing her posts and offering support. The comments filled with sympathy for her, and concern mixed with subtle blame toward me. "Who just disappears on their loving wife," wrote one mutual friend. "Derick must be going through something serious to do this to Amanda." The narrative was forming exactly as I had anticipated. I was either mentally unstable or cruelly abandoning my devoted wife. No one questioned what might have driven me away. By week 2, Amanda had escalated dramatically. She gave a tearful interview to a local news outlet describing our perfect marriage and her complete shock at my disappearance. She suggested stress from work had affected my mental health, painting herself as the supportive wife, blindsided by her husband's breakdown. The story was picked up by several regional news sites. My company photo splashed across screens alongside Amanda's tears. The police conducted a welfare check at my parents' home after Amanda filed a missing persons report. They maintained the truth. They knew I was safe but did not know my location. Since I had contacted them directly, and was clearly not missing but choosing privacy, the police could do little. My family faced the brunt of Amanda's performance. My mother called me in tears after Amanda showed up at their door, putting on a heart-wrenching display of the devastated wife. "She had everyone at church praying for your safe return," Mom said. "Your father and I feel terrible keeping the truth from people who genuinely care about you, but we understand why this is necessary." Former friends sent messages to my new email address, some concerned, others angry. "How could you do this to her?" wrote Mark, the friend who had introduced us. "Amanda is falling apart. Whatever your issues, man up and face them." Only my closest friend Tyler suspected there might be more to the story, texting, "Whatever made you leave must have been serious. I am here when you are ready to talk." I did not respond, but his message gave me hope that eventually the truth might be received. Amanda's performance reached new heights when she organized a community search party complete with printed t-shirts bearing my face and the slogan, "Bring Derick home." Local news covered the event, capturing Amanda's perfectly composed tears as she pleaded for my return. Not once did she mention our troubles or her relationship with James, who conspicuously remained in the background during her public appearances. Watching this unfold from afar tested my resolve daily. The temptation to defend myself publicly was overwhelming at times. I drafted and deleted countless emails explaining my side. I imagined the satisfaction of exposing their affair to the sympathetic crowd Amanda had gathered. But each time I reminded myself that engagement of any kind would only drag me into their toxic game. So I remained ghosted, watching from afar, as Amanda's narrative began showing cracks. James became increasingly absent from her side as the publicity grew. Their planned romantic getaways were canceled, as Amanda maintained her grieving wife performance. My lawyer reported that she had begun inquiring about accessing my retirement accounts, showing her true priorities, even in the midst of her supposed grief. 6 months passed in my new life in Portland. My apartment had slowly become a home sparsely furnished but comfortable. I had established a productive remote work routine and even received a promotion for a project completed during this time. Twice-weekly therapy sessions helped me process the betrayal and rebuild my sense of self-worth. I had made a few casual friendships at my local coffee shop and gym, nothing deep yet, but steps toward a new social circle. I had nearly forgotten about my old life when fate intervened in an unexpected way. While attending a technology conference in Vancouver, my first professional travel since disappearing, I literally bumped into Taylor, a friend who had worked at my company before moving to Canada. Her shock at seeing me alive and well was genuine. "Derick, oh my God. Everyone thinks you had some kind of breakdown," she exclaimed, pulling me into a corner away from other attendees. In that moment, I made a split-second decision. Taylor had always been perceptive and straightforward. If anyone deserved the truth, it was her. Over coffee, I shared my story, showing her some of the evidence I had gathered before leaving. Her expression shifted from shock to anger as she understood what had really happened. "That manipulative. I cannot believe this. Amanda has had everyone feeling sorry for her for months. She even started a support group for spouses of partners with mental health crises." Taylor's indignation on my behalf was the first external validation I had received. She asked thoughtful questions about my well-being and plans, never once suggesting I should have handled things differently. Before we parted, she asked permission to correct the record with certain mutual friends she trusted. I agreed, knowing the truth would eventually emerge, with or without my participation. What followed was a gradual unraveling of Amanda's carefully constructed narrative. Taylor reached out to several close friends with what she had learned, providing just enough details to raise serious questions about Amanda's version of events. When confronted by our mutual friend Rachel, Amanda's defensive reaction and inconsistent explanations raised red flags. The friend group began dividing as people chose sides or simply withdrew from the drama entirely. James, who had been keeping a low profile during Amanda's public grief campaign, was spotted with her by a friend who had been made aware of their relationship. Photos circulated among our former social circle, creating questions Amanda struggled to answer. As her story crumbled, Amanda's behavior became increasingly erratic. She posted angry rants on social media, alternately portraying herself as the victim of malicious rumors and attacking those who questioned her. James distanced himself, completely unwilling to be drawn into the public spectacle she had created. Their carefully planned future together collapsed under the weight of scrutiny. After careful consideration and consultation with my therapist, I decided to reclaim my narrative with a single, carefully crafted email to close friends and family. I attached key evidence of the affair, and their divorce strategy explained my reasons for choosing to ghost rather than engage, and asked for understanding rather than continued contact. I had built a new life and was not looking to resurrect the old one. I did not leave to punish Amanda or to cause drama, I wrote. I left to protect myself from a toxic situation where I was being manipulated and gaslit. My silence was not cruelty but self-preservation. The response was overwhelming. People who had condemned my disappearance now sent apologies. Others shared their own experiences with betrayal and manipulation, expressing admiration for my clean break. A few remained loyal to Amanda, but the tide of public opinion had definitively turned. Amanda's reaction to being exposed was another meltdown this time, without the sympathetic audience she had cultivated. She attempted to contact me through various channels, alternating between tearful apologies and vicious accusations. I maintained my silence, allowing my lawyer to handle the necessary communications as we finalized divorce proceedings from a distance. James, true to character, abandoned Amanda completely when she became a liability rather than an asset. Through mutual connections, I learned he had transferred to his company's Chicago office, leaving Amanda to face the social consequences alone. The legal resolution came more smoothly than expected. With evidence of the affair and their financial schemes, Amanda's attempts to claim emotional distress were quickly dismissed. We achieved a clean break financially, with each of us keeping what we had brought to the marriage. The house was sold with proceeds divided according to our contributions. My lawyer handled everything, maintaining my privacy throughout the process. Throughout this period, I focused intensely on my healing journey. I joined support groups for betrayed spouses, finding comfort in shared experiences and wisdom. I established healthier boundaries in all relationships, becoming more attuned to red flags I had previously ignored. I rediscovered passions that had fallen away during my marriage: playing guitar, mountain biking, volunteering at animal rescues. 1 year after my disappearance, my life had transformed completely. My career continued to flourish, with a leadership role that challenged and fulfilled me. I had formed genuine friendships with people who knew my full story and respected my journey. I had even begun tentatively dating again, approaching relationships with hard-earned wisdom rather than fearful suspicion. The experience taught me that sometimes walking away silently is the loudest statement you can make. I lost a marriage, but found myself in the process. The betrayal nearly broke me, but rebuilding my life taught me that we are all stronger than our worst moments. What would you have done in my position? Would you have confronted the betrayal directly, or taken another path? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If my story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more experiences about overcoming life's challenges. And if you know someone who might benefit from this journey, share this video with them. Remember, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away and start again. Thank you for listening to my story, and I wish you strength in whatever battles you might be facing.